Hey everyone, welcome to Anatomy of a Movie comments and questions section. Now, during our long form Anatomy of a Movie, we don't always have time to get to your comments and questions about what we're talking about. So we created this little segment so that we can definitely get to all the great things you guys have to say and some really interesting points that a lot of you guys bring up.
Well, Chris Martin writes about Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Electro's change of heart isn't too much of a leap of faith if you take into account the mind of a stalker. And Dimitri Panos, one of our hosts, responded to that, said, jokingly, of course, that how do you know the mind of a stalker? But anyway, the comment continues, if Max was a stalker of Spider-Man in a way, he idolizes him and he adores him. Like a slightly off person would, let's say, a celebrity, their minds can turn from love to hate very fast, especially if their idolized perfect perception of them is shattered. In Max's mind, he was Spider-Man's partner. He wanted him to come to his party. When Spider-Man couldn't remember his name, it broke the fantasy. And, again, as for me, as discussed on The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it wasn't so much that for me. It was how they defeated him. I think they should have turned him back to loving Spider-Man. And I think that would have worked perfectly. But, it is what it is. But
it's an interesting point, though.
Yeah.
About the way, people's minds work with celebrities and things like that. And I think he brings up a good and true point.
Well, he's going to be our bodyguard soon because he knows the minds of stalkers.
Oh, yeah, please.
Chloe's got to get a bodyguard. You'd be surprised how many people just can't leave her alone when she exits the studio.
Yeah. Woo. I mean, don't worry, these guns, though.
Hey, you also do the American Idol red carpets and all that, so yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
crazy.
A
lot of stalkers out there. Keep Chloe safe, hashtag. Also, another comment about Amazing Spider-Man 2 from Sani Aran9. I've come back from the cinemas after watching Amazing Spider-Man 2. Personally, I thought it was amazing, literally. It was one of the most action-packed and emotional superhero movies I have seen. Not only are you learning about Spider-Man, but also Peter Parker himself. The audience can link with the character of Peter Parker and the situations he is going through. Also, you get to relate with the movie's main villain and his backstory on how and why he becomes a villain. Not only is it action-packed, but it's also very funny. So, here's a person who absolutely loves Spider-Man, and that's why we do the movies that we do, because
absolutely, she's a fan just like us.
Exactly. Now, Neighbors. We just did this movie recently on Anatomy of a Movie. Check that out. But Sufonaferher, I butchered this name. I apologize. Writes, all right, so the movie was good enough, at least compared to most comedies in wide release these days. There were some few laughs, much of which were in the first half of the movie, which kind of tends to be just because you have to, and then, you have to have some emotional stakes towards the end, so...
I always say that the first half of any movie is my favorite part, and then anytime the conflict comes, I always get uncomfortable, and then I just want it to be resolved.
Fair enough, so yeah, I mean, that's exactly how you unfortunately have to do it. He continues on to write, but was there anyone else irritated by the shameless product placement with Efron and the guy at the career fair? Speaking, that's Dave Franco. The AT&T guy was able to give us his whole spiel on who, what they are, and what they're trying to sell. Then he tells Efron that he's way too dumb to work there. Was that supposed to be funny, or are they supposed to just know they paid $5 million just for the 2-minute exchange? The career fair didn't really serve any other purpose other than to sell the benefits of AT&T. So
it's a good point.
Ultimately, you do have to pay for your movie.
Yeah, but I definitely see his point. I mean, product placement, even in music videos today and in movies, I just think it's not as smooth as it might have been. And I don't know. I appreciate now movies that have no product placement, or as least product placement as they can, because, yeah, then it's more about the story than, the product telling the writers and the producers what to do for 2 whole minutes of a film.
I mean, if you can respond back, let us know. I'd be curious to know if you're talking specifically about that moment or just the full career fair, because, you do have that exchange with Dave Franco and Zac Efron where they're kind of talking about bro stuff. And even that was perhaps a little bit too long because they made so many analogies. But I don't know. Let us know your full thought. But either way, I mean, you do make a good point. It does make sense. And, it would definitely help the movie keep moving. AT&T, hopefully it paid off for you at least.
Yeah, seriously. Well, thank you guys so much for your comments and questions. We love reading them. Keep them coming, and we will see you next time here on Anatomy of a Movie.